Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live Q&A tonight. We are talking all things surrogacy on the surrogate side of things. So my name is Hannah. I am our communication specialist here at Family Source Consultants. I am actually a one-time surrogate myself, so I will be speaking with two former surrogates, but I obviously have a little bit of experience in that too. So you're getting really perspective from three surrogates who have kind of walked the walk before. So Jasmine, can you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up as a surrogate?
Yes, so my name is Jasmine. I've been with Family Source since it was borderline end of 21, beginning of 22. It all happened so fast. Like, it was pretty much January. We'll just go with January of 22. So I actually just finished my journey in May of 23. I gave birth to a little boy. Um, Coming into surrogacy, I was pretty nervous because there's so much I need to learn, but Family Source really helped make me feel more comfortable and answered any questions I had. And I'm definitely, I wouldn't say ready yet, but looking forward to my next journey. I'm thinking after the New Year's when I'll look into the matching process again.
Excellent. And Lexi, can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so I also was a previous surrogate from beginning in 21, and then it went to last year, 2022. It does go by so fast, so that's why keeping track of time
Yeah.
is crazy. So I delivered in December, the last week of December, so December 23rd. So I'm 10 months postpartum, and I'm actually on my second journey right now, in the process of my second journey. So everything just flies by so fast, and we're so excited to be able to do this again with Family Source.
Yeah, so it's really exciting that you're both former surrogates, but also are at different stages just based on when you delivered and thought process and things like that. So just a note for the folks who are watching live, we're going to be live for about the next 30 minutes. And if you are watching either on Facebook or wherever, if you just put in the chat any questions you may have, we'll be able to see the questions that you're asking and we can answer them live too. So we're going to chat about all things surrogacy, but I know we did actually already have a question come up, which is I think a good place to start. So somebody asked specifically if I would ever be a surrogate again, and I want to hear from Jasmine and Lexi, because the question was asked before you both said that you would. So Lexi, how did you decide that you wanted to be a surrogate again?
It was just a really natural feeling. Like for the past few months, I really decided that I wanted to be able to experience this one final time for one more family. And then just the experience was one of the most fulfilling journeys of my life. I really felt like I was made to do this for other families. Like it was a gift that I was able to have and a blessing for other families. So I always, growing up, wanted to be in the humanitarian line of work. So this sort of just like fit in perfectly to be able to do this. And my family feels the same way as well.
Yeah, and that family support piece is huge. So it sounds like everybody in your circle is really excited about this as well.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
That matters. And then Jasmine, it sounds like you are thinking about another journey already.
Yes, so the only reason I haven't started again is because my complications from the last birth. I just want to give myself a longer break before being pregnant again since I had a prolapsed cervix after birth. It's not painful or anything, but I'm just trying to do workouts and tighten my core and everything so my cervix can be back where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
But definitely going through the whole journey, I was like, I want to do this again. Like, I already know. It made me feel so good and like made me feel good that I can make other people happy because obviously babies make everybody happy.
it's a very fulfilling experience, especially I think for folks who haven't, even if you're pregnant as a surrogate and you haven't made it all the way, like it's just, I would say wait until you get to the very end because one, that's kind of the most exciting part in some
Yeah,
ways. But two, then you'll, like Jasmine said, you never really know how delivery goes. So on the flip side, like it's really important to know how your body is going to do, even if you've
definitely.
had a bunch of deliveries before. So for me, I'm like, I go back and forth a little bit. I think at this point in my life right now, I'm honestly at a place where it is nice to have my body just be my body. So like I have two young kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then I had the surrogacy like last year. So I kind of just went back to back. And so this is really the first time in like 6 years that like I haven't been pregnant or breastfeeding. And I kind of forgot what that was like. And so it's kind of really nice to be honest with you, to just like fit into my pants again and like go wherever I want to go, like stuff like that. I've been very busy with work, which is so exciting, but so I'm finding fulfillment in other ways right now. But I think that's the other cool part about surrogacy is that like you never know, and I'm still in my young to mid 30s, and so there's still plenty of time for me if I do end up kind of having that itch again in a couple of years. So we'll see, but that's where I'm at. And I think any of those places is an okay place to be. I know I talk to a lot of surrogates who are like doing it and they're like, I'm going to do this as many times as I possibly can. And that's so wonderful. And if you're just like a one and done kind of person, I think that's okay too. So.
Right. And with surrogacy, I think looking from the outside in, it looks like it's so easy and it's just a pregnancy, but there's a lot more to it. My whole journey was 18 months, not just a 9-month pregnancy. A lot of times journeys are around 18 months. So it is a very trying process. So you definitely deserve to take a break and, get yourself back.
Yeah. Yes, there's pros and cons. So, but yes, to all the things about being, having it be a tremendously fulfilling experience. And I'm really, really grateful that I did it. So, and then somebody had asked specifically, what is your favorite part of the surrogacy journey? We'll start there. Lexi, what's your favorite part of the surrogacy journey?
Obviously, the most, leading up to the most important part, which is giving the baby to the family. So that was just the most incredible experience of my entire life, just seeing the family and just feeling the whole energy to the room that their miracle baby finally came into this world. So that was definitely my favorite part. And then the most nerve-wracking part for me was definitely the induction, because I definitely preferred to not do this in the second journey, because I just feel like naturally my body wasn't ready. So it was a lot of stress for me and then also my family towards the end, because I just knew in my heart I didn't feel ready for it. And then towards the beginning of the journey, the most nerve-wracking part was the injections and intramuscular injections. That was like actually the thing I was scared about the most. Regardless of giving birth to the actual baby, is the intramuscular injections.
How did those end up going for you then?
It was actually really good. I didn't expect it to be that good. I did the numbing cream and then the ice packs. I do little tips on our TikTok about the ice pack. So that actually, I couldn't feel anything by doing that. Obviously, there was a few days where I did feel like the same area. If it was like bruised, I would feel it. But other than that, it was actually pretty great for the size of the needle.
Yeah. It's manageable, and I think that we have a support group for surrogates through Family Source, and I think that group has been so helpful with all the tips and tricks that there are about making sure that the shots go in easy and recovery from them. Because I think the shot itself actually is not that bad. It's the after.
It's the aftermath, yeah.
Totally. Definitely. And so like I learned from the support group that like if you get up and walk around afterwards, sometimes that helps like even everything out. Or if you use, I think it's if you ice before and then heat afterwards, it's always really helpful. So there's tips and tricks definitely from other surrogates that I think were very helpful to hear. And then Jasmine, what do you think was your favorite part, and then what was the most nerve-wracking?
So I think my favorite part overall was hitting milestones and being able to share that with the parents, and any updates, being able to share that with them. My intended parents actually did not know the gender of the embryo that was transferred, so I was able to do a gender reveal video for them, and I was so excited to do that. But unfortunately, what time of the month it was very cold and windy outside, and I did a gender reveal balloon. So when I popped it and it was so windy, it just blew away.
And I couldn't see
it. But I was really excited to be able to share things with them. Every time I learned something about the baby or anything, I was quick to inform them and everything. And just seeing their excitement about it all just made me happy.
Yeah. Honestly, it's all about, yes, I think the surrogates are an important part of this process, obviously, but I think we're all just really, it's so exciting to be able to like watch that happen for other people, you know, and like watch them become parents. Because I mean, surrogates have all delivered babies themselves at some point, right? That's part of the criteria.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to like watch that unfold before your eyes. So for me, I think my favorite part of the journey was in a lot of ways like that relationship with the intended parents. I think is just so like unique and cool, and you're in this like thing together. It feels like in this very like odd sort of relationship and way. And so that was really cool. And I also had never really thought about like I thought about the parents a lot. I hadn't thought about like their parents and their siblings who were becoming aunts and uncles and grandparents and stuff like that. That like I was fortunate enough to have intended parents that like let me in to that side of their lives as well. They also were local, so we were able to like meet up, and I got invited to baby showers and things like that. And that stuff was so cool to just like meet their circle, you know, and their people. And I thought that was like one of my favorite parts. And then nerve wracking. I agree that the shots freaked me out at the beginning, and I think I got like my body didn't love the shots that much, but I think that like just I don't like being nauseous. Nobody really likes being nauseous, but I really, really freak out. Like, so I think I was more sick in this pregnancy than I was in past ones, but then was feeling much better after I was done with the medication. So
that's what's so crazy about my journey, because I didn't feel pregnant at all. Besides my big belly, like never was like in the beginning. I was like, okay, I'm kind of nauseous, but I still have an appetite. But with my keeper, I was sick the entire pregnancy. I had to take medication up until labor just to be able to keep everything down. And with this one, I never got sick. I always felt great. I had a huge appetite. I'm like, I am loving this.
Yeah. You know what else was kind of nerve wracking? I don't know if you all experienced this too, but at the beginning, when you have so many appointments, not even just like keeping up with the schedule, but literally every time you could go in, something could go wrong. And that freaked me out, I think, at the beginning too, because when you're pregnant, like naturally with your own kids, I mean, I didn't know what my levels of any hormones were. And then here I was like freaking out about numbers when like I didn't know what numbers I'm supposed to be at. Did you, Lexi, did you have a similar experience when you had to go in for so many?
Yes, because it's just such a different process than a regular pregnancy. So just every little thing you're so cautious about, just what you eat, what you're doing every single day, because it's somebody else's baby. And also the appointments too, you don't know what any of this means. It's all science. We're making a baby through science. So just to know that this is possible it blows everyone's mind. And then, you know, it was just really important to follow the doctor's orders and everything, because it does get nerve-wracking for those appointments. Yeah,
definitely.
And I just interviewed someone from a fertility clinic last week for one of these webinars, and we were talking specifically about how everybody's medication protocol is different. So even though we have these support groups, I know there's some people in there that are like asking questions about specific dosage and stuff like that, or some people have done like suppositories and not injections, or some combination of both, and I never had to do suppositories at all. And so
I had to do suppositories towards the end, right before transfer. So I had the injection plus a progesterone suppository too.
Wow. Yeah. See that? But it worked, and that is good. I had to do. Did either of you have to do a trial cycle first, or did you just jump right into the real cycle?
No. So that was the mock. I know there was the mock cycle. I never had to do that.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't do that.
So I ended up having to do 2 med cycles, because at the very end of my first med cycle, right before, it was like 4 days before I went in to do the transfer, when I started the progesterone and oil, it made me bleed a little bit. And the clinic was like, nope, let everything go. We got to let your period come back and everything. So I had to start all over. And I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up, which obviously wasn't my fault, you know, but things like that happen. Just like after transfer, I was about 5 or 6 weeks, and I had an SCH, which is a subchorionic hemorrhage. And I had no clue what that was. All I knew is that I was cramping and bleeding, and I was like, oh my gosh, I messed up. Like, it's my job to keep this baby safe, and my body did something wrong, but the baby was still safe. And it's actually very common in IVF, which is something I also learned. So It's just all the little things that's
Right.
worries you.
I don't know if you're doing, the right thing or the wrong thing, because you just hear so many surrogates going through different experiences. They take the medications at different times, so it's just that's what can cause the anxiety and stress. But I just think it's just so important to listen to the clinic because they know what's going to work the best.
Yeah, and that's the best thing you can do. Like any of the medical professionals will say, the only thing that you can do. I mean, there's all these kind of old wives' tales out there about like what you can eat and what you can do, but like really, as long as you're following your medication protocol, that is the best thing you can do. But
I did do some of the old wives' tales.
I mean, some of them are just kind of fun. Like I will always eat McDonald's fries if offered. Like, that's fine.
I didn't do that, but I was eating or drinking the pomegranate juice.
Did you? Was it good?
No. Okay, so the original plain pomegranate juice I do not like, but there was like a peach one I found at my grocery store. Those were good, but the original one I could not stomach it.
Then you don't need to be doing that if it's not for you. If it's enjoyable, then go for it. I also did acupuncture, which like is kind of.
I have heard that too. I did not do that one.
I did it because I like it. Like I enjoy it a lot, and so that's something that like if that's something you want to try, then sure. There's like kind of mixed actual research out there about if it's effective or not, but it usually doesn't hurt. So somebody asked specifically what is a mock trial. So just to back up, a mock trial, some clinics will have people take the medications, do the injections, just like there's going to be a transfer. And then they test your like hormone levels as well as your uterine lining thickness. And then they don't actually transfer an embryo, because then that way, if the lining is off and if your hormones are off, then they know that they need to adjust the medication. And if all of your levels are perfect, then they know that you could do the same exact thing the next cycle, and like then they'll transfer.
And that's the route to take. Yeah,
I think kind of like safe versus being sorry sort of thing.
Yeah. Even though any transfer can go either way, Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, absolutely. So even if everything's perfect, it doesn't necessarily guarantee that things are going to work out. Right. But some intended parents and some fertility clinics opt for kind of doing a mock like practice run first to make sure, which I see the benefits. And also it's an extra month on your process. It's an extra cost to the intended parents. It's more shots that you have to take as a surrogate. So like there's pros and cons, but it worked on the first try for me then once we actually got to it. So, and I know somebody also did ask about if you can kind of the age limit for surrogates. So so we do have surrogates over age of 40. Each clinic is going to be a little bit different on what their upper limit is.
I think I've seen around 42.
I've seen 42. I think if you're experienced and you have a relationship, maybe you're on a sibling journey, they might be able to fudge that.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
And then on the younger end, I mean, Jasmine, you were kind of on the younger end. I know you've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how you think your age impacted kind of your matching process? I know
it actually did impact. So there were a few intended parent profiles that I did try matching with that I just wasn't the right fit for them. One of them that I did attempt to match with did think I was too young, which is okay. I mean, 21 and being done with your family seems kind of young, but we're very content with one and done. If another one happened, I mean, I'll still be excited about it, but these terrible threes are very trying. So I'm like, I don't know, but that definitely did affect my matching. They were like, we love everything about her profile, but we just feel like she's too young, so we're going to pass.
And those weren't your people, and that's okay.
Right. Everything happens for a reason. I believe I was 22.
Yeah.
At that point, at the beginning of my journey, I was 22. I'm 24 now.
Yeah. That's so exciting. And then Lexi, you're in a very exciting part of your second journey. Can you talk a little bit about how matching's going for you so far with the second journey?
Yeah, so I started the matching process this month. So it was this whole month has been with the matching team. So they were finishing gathering the medical records and then beginning to do the psychological evaluations while sending me the first profile. So that actually went at the same time, the same week. So my first family was actually sent to me 2 weeks ago, and it was a beautiful family with a beautiful story that I really loved. But so I decided to try to meet them. But a few days later, I found out that they actually wanted a double embryo transfer, and then for me, I was want a single embryo transfer. So what a double embryo transfer would be basically two twins, and that can also split. Sorry, just twins, but that can split into possibly triplets. And I didn't feel comfortable with twins for my body. I've never went through that before. And then also, if you do a single embryo transfer, that can also split into two as well. So that family, I never actually ended up meeting them. I only saw the first profile. So the second family that I got sent was also an amazing, touching story. I was actually able to meet them. It just wasn't a good fit. After meeting them, there was some sort of medical differences, and also I didn't feel a strong connection to them as well. Communication is very important for me in a pregnancy, and I would love a really close relationship with the family that I'm giving birth to. So that was one of the biggest things for me. And
so then you decided not to move forward with that one?
No. So yes, so that's what I also wanted to say, is that with your own pregnancy, you want to be able to not do anything more or less than what you would do if this was your child. So sorry, my train of thought. So nobody should feel pressured when they do meet any families to do something that would be comfortable for their family just because you want to start the process. I believe patience and waiting for the right family is definitely the best option when becoming a surrogate, because it could be easy to just want to, rush everything and just you want to go, but you really have to find the perfect match for you. So I finally got sent a profile 2 days ago of another family. So I was able to actually meet them, and I had such an amazing connection with them. It was just, you can feel it. I was able to feel it in my heart that it was the right family. So today we finally signed the agreement for this family. So,
Yay!
That's so exciting. I'm so excited for that part.
Thank you. And that's what I just wanted to say, is when you're just meeting a family, like if in your head you're just thinking like yes, and then I know it's cliche, but you just feel in your heart, a connection, whether that's like from God, the universe, whatever. Like you just will know that that's the right family, and that's what I felt with my first family as well. In my first journey, like just meeting them, and you just feel it in your heart that it's right. But if you're getting like red flags, like it's just red, and it's like no, and then also if your partner is like also having concerns as well, you should just make sure that like you sleep overnight and think about it. So that is what we did this time around. But obviously when I met this family today, it was really easy for me to just say, I was even saying, I don't normally do this, but I just want to tell them like I would love to do this for their family, because it was just such an amazing connection. And they were telling me too that they already want to match as well. So it just really depends. But I really want people to understand that patience is definitely key in this. You have to find the perfect match for you. You will know that it's right in your heart.
Yeah. I think that is such terrific advice, especially for anybody who hasn't made it to matching yet. I think having boundaries is important, and stick with those, and that's okay. Like if you have, things that you are not willing to compromise on, there's somebody out there for you.
Oh,
and
yeah, definitely.
You just need to wait for it if it's not sitting right. It's so much like dating. I know we talk about this a lot, but it is true. There's so many comparisons. I feel like you just sometimes like it's a vibe thing, and you just kind of know, and you're
like a vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't talk about this too much, but I actually first got into surrogacy because I was like interested in it, didn't know that much about it, and then thought I was going to do an independent journey actually with somebody that I met on Facebook. And so I met them like through a local moms group. They were looking for, to expand their family. They already had one through surrogacy, and they were looking for, a second surrogate. And I was like, cool, this sounds fun. Like, let's do it. And it was all independent. There was no agency involved. And I was working with them kind of for months, but the red flags were definitely there. I just like kept squashing them because I was like trying to be nice and trying to be helpful, and I wanted it to work out. And then we got to legal finally, and it like fell apart for lots of reasons.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's wrong with me? Was I not like nice enough or helpful enough? Or I'm so like, I just felt awful about it. And then like 2 days later, I signed up with, actually the next day I signed up with Family Source. 2 days later, they had me, meeting a couple that I had seen their profile. I was like, these people sound wonderful. And I was matched like by the next week. And it, like you, Lexi, like literally in the match meeting, we were all like, this is it, the end. Like we all signed the stuff. And our case manager, the coordinator in the match meeting was like, chill out, everybody. Like we just wait until we get off the call before we can all talk about this. But yeah, I mean, it all happens for a reason. So I think that's kind of at every step of the journey, right? Like I'm sure that there were parts for both of you that it was like, why isn't this going? Like even Jasmine, for your first, cycle, it sounds like there was a bit of that frustration of like, oh my gosh, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely. Because I thought, well, maybe they'll give it another day to see if it's actually made me start my period or what was going on. But as soon as I let the clinic know, they were like, nope. I'm like, no. Because then I just didn't want to devastate the family. Like, now we have to wait longer, And I just felt really bad.
But a failed transfer probably would have been way worse,
Right.
So it's all about like risk management, right?
Yeah. So we only had to push it out a month later. So it's not like 3 months,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is even if you do have a failed transfer, I know we've had a couple folks, even on the ambassador team who have experienced that recently, unfortunately. Like the turnaround time is not as long as I would have thought it would have been. Like I think it's typically like the next cycle you can try again after you get your period back in your level.
But sometimes when you want that cycle to come, it doesn't want to.
Oh my gosh, isn't that so wild how you're like begging for your period for the
when
first
you
time?
want it, it doesn't come.
It's wild. But again, the timing is, it feels like it's forever. And then like, I think it was Lexi, you said, like, it just flies by when you get to the pregnancy part, especially. It was the fastest pregnancy for me. Do you both feel the same?
Definitely.
Yeah. Isn't that wild? I don't know. We have a few more minutes if anybody has any other questions to jump in with. But Lexi, are there other words of wisdom that you'd have for anybody watching who's thinking about becoming a surrogate?
I think definitely with the boundaries, like you mentioned, because for me, it is hard for me to sort of have those boundaries. So when I'm caught in the middle of like these situations, I don't have a direct answer. So it's sort of like in the middle, but in the end, it's actually not the real answer that I want in my heart. So I think you have to really go into this with what you want, your wants and your needs, and then not just for you, but also like your partner. You should ask like what they think is best for you as well, and then also for your kids too, since your kids will be involved. Like, do you think it's going to be bad to have a close relationship with the family, or is it better to just not have a good, close relationship with them? So there's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you know is going to work the best for you and your family. And also when you're meeting the families as well, I want it to be like a friendly conversation with friends. So that was something that I sort of experienced, was we felt a little uncomfortable. And this is with some of the questions that we were asking. I just think it should be like a friendly conversation. And so anything you wouldn't ask your friends or families shouldn't be like really brought up when you're meeting the parents as well. So I think that's a big thing for us, that was like a red flag.
Mm-hmm. So, and for somebody, and again, like that's very specific to the person, because I agree with you. Like for me, that was really important, was having that kind of connection. It was important for me to feel like I was friends with them, like that.
Yes, for sure.
Connection. But some people prefer not to, and to kind of prefer to just like do their thing, have the process, and then move on. So I think like you said, thinking about what you want out of the experience and what boundaries you have before you get into that conversation. Because it is really hard, I think, to say no to intended parents. Like you want this so bad for everybody, that they're all so deserving of.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah. Jasmine, what advice would you give to folks who are considering becoming a surrogate or in those like really early stages?
Honestly, I just feel like don't rush into anything. I saw multiple profiles before I found my perfect match. And sometimes it doesn't end up that way. Like Hannah said, she got to legal and it's just not what it needed to be. Mm-hmm. So definitely watch for red flags. I mean, from either side. One side may decide that's just not what everything was supposed to be. For me, communication is big, so we don't have to be talking every day, but my intended parents, I texted them every week. Happy 12 weeks, happy 13 weeks, because every week is a week closer, and we've made it this far. So I was always excited to be like, happy 12 weeks. So
yeah. And to know what the communication is going to look like up front so that you know what they want and that you can deliver that too. Because if they are expecting you to reach out every day, like, is that something you want to do and you want to make sure that you're then doing it? So,
right.
Well, I think that's all really great advice. And then also, like, I would just add, know that there are professionals both on our team and then the other professionals you work with, so like the medical staff at the clinic, your attorney, people like that have done this a million times before, maybe not a whole million, but like a lot of times.
Close.
And so reaching out to them with questions, because I know for me, I was sometimes like afraid to ask questions because I didn't want to seem like I was being a pain or that I was like,
that's how I was. I didn't want to speak up for myself, even though, you're not doing anything wrong,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think that especially like I know on our team, and I don't think I knew this until I joined the team after I was a surrogate, but like everybody just cares really deeply on a personal level. A lot of folks have direct connections and experience with surrogacy or egg donation. And so we want to make sure that we're there for you to be able to help in meaningful ways. So like, let us do that. I know when my case manager would reach out to me, I'd just be like, everything's cool. And it was mostly, but like, I think that having that kind of relationship, like, we're genuinely happy for the surrogates and really excited to follow along with the journey. So, Lexi, I cannot wait to hear about these next couple steps. Yeah. So we'll definitely have you on, in a couple months here.
It's so exciting. We're so excited.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know about your timeline then?
So we are just starting the legal. I think she said it was the legal. I forgot it was the legal or the medical process first. Yeah. And it's usually between this time period, it's 3 to 5 months after making the match when the transfer is. So hopefully we can, have everything go smoothly for this.
You could be like, you probably will be like pregnant by springtime. Isn't that so real?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we're gonna.
I guess that's one more topic I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that the other party is agreed on your timeline as well, because
that's true.
So even if I matched now, I wouldn't want to transfer until September. Yeah. Me and my family are big on being outdoors. I ride motorcycles. Like, our outdoor lifestyle does not match with pregnancy. So you got to make sure it works for you too. Yeah. So even if I did match now, I'd want it to be known that, hey, I don't really feel comfortable transferring until the end of summer, just so it works for everybody. And maybe some of them will want to wait until then. So,
yeah.
Right. Because when I transferred in April, that was actually, crazy. Because then when I was delivering in December, that's when the holidays were happening and everything. And I know we wanted, the induction was scheduled for before Christmas. And it was just like such a stressful time period because November is my daughter's birthday and it's just all crazy. So I would prefer to not transfer in April. I didn't bring it up, though, because I just didn't know, because we're in October. So I'm thinking like 3 to 5 months.
I by April. Yeah, but that's a good point. And there's so many steps along the way, that you can space it out in a way that makes sense for you. Like, you can still be matched and have it take a couple months, or for me, matching to being pregnant was 3 months total, and that include a mock trial. So it depends on lots of things. But yes, I think the overall take-home message is have some boundaries, stick with them, and stand up for yourself in this while also doing an amazing thing for somebody else. You can do all of those things at the same time. They are not mutually exclusive things. So, because we all obviously care so deeply about, what we do as surrogates, and, having that connection with the intended parents, and also remember that you are a person in this too. So
yeah,
all of those things can be true.
So even if we do feel bad for passing on a certain family, they do have a perfect match for them. Because if we do go through this journey and everybody says they're okay, in the back of our head, we're going to really know that there was certain things that were not okay in the beginning, and it'll just always be in our mind.
Right.
So just know that there is going to be that perfect match who are willing to do this, and meet the guidelines for whatever the intended parents needs. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. I think this was fantastic advice that you all gave. So thank you, Lexi and Jasmine. And again, we'll have you back certainly to see what you're up to in a couple months here, because Lexi, it could be very exciting next steps for you. So I'm really excited to hear along on your journey. So thank you both for being here this evening and making the time. And thanks everyone for watching. If you do want to reach out, our information is on the website, as well as, you can just reach out via social media to get connected with any of us, and we can answer any further questions you may have about surrogacy. So thanks everyone. Have a good night.